in a knife fight or in a knife attack, you will get cut.
I think that's it's obviously a fallacy. There's no absolutes in combat, right? You can't say this will happen, this will not happen. But as a mindset, I don't think it's a bad thing to expect that you might get cut, because if you expect that could happen, then you're less apt to just freeze up and say, hey, I got cut, I'm dead, type of a thing. Understand that the body can take damage and just keep going. So I think it's okay to expect that it could very well happen, but as far as just like absolute truth, there are no absolutes in combat, and so you can never say this will or this will not happen. It's just more of a mindset of, if you do get cut, just keep fighting, right? If you get cut, you get stabbed. I think that's the value, but you don't have to have the mindset that I will get cut, and if I didn't, then something went wrong.
A knife is meant to be felt, not seen.
Yeah, I get it. I get what people are trying to say, right? Maintain the element of surprise, because it's difficult to defend against the weapon that you don't know exists, right? So there are some truths to that. You know, if you've got that element of surprise, then in a defensive situation, then you may have some kind of advantage. The flip side I see to that is a knife can also be a great deterrent. I don't want to have to use my knife to stab someone. So if that person understands I do have a knife and I'm prepared to use it to defend myself, that could be the ability to gain some psychological advantage and control over the situation, maybe even deter it from actually getting physical to begin with. So I see two sides to that.
Using a knife as a deterrent could also escalate violence faster than it might have otherwise.
Yeah, every situation's unique, right? And so you got to kind of read the situation. Is physical conflict pretty much inevitable based on how you're reading things? And I'm going to my last resorts. I've got the knife in my hand. I'm going to use it, but look what I'm going to use. So I think there is, you got to kind of read each situation individually. If there is still a chance that things can be de-escalated without bringing out a knife and saying, hey, let's escalate this, then that may be a possibility also.
The best defense against a knife is to run away.
It depends, okay? It depends on the scenario. Yeah, I'm a huge believer in disengaging from a bad situation before it begins. I always tell people the fight you'll always survive is the one that you've been able to avoid altogether. Having said that, to say it's the best tactic, it really depends. For example, if I'm out somewhere with my wife and kids, right, and some crazy guy comes out and starts attacking us with a knife, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to stay in. That's not going to be the best tactic. I'm going to stay and protect my family, because they're not going to be able to. My kids aren't going to be able to keep up with me. So yeah, no, it's important to do when viable, but it's not always viable. And sometimes it may be based on the environment. If there's nowhere to run, you don't want the bad guy to get you on your heels, right? By trying to disengage from that. Sometimes you got to take the aggression to them. So in some situations, absolutely. In others, it may be to your detriment.
I'll just shoot the guy.
Of course. No, that's a common thing. I hear it all the time, especially come from a law enforcement background, and usually come from people that are just too lazy to train, and they kind of hold behind some false pretenses. When it's viable, absolutely. The thing is, knives are usually, like a blade, if that's what we're talking about with regards to defense against a blade, is a close quarter weapon. And people aren't gonna, if someone's across the road like waving a knife at you, it's gonna be much easier. But usually if someone's actually assaulting you with that knife, it's gonna be pretty close quarters. Understanding the dynamics of action and reaction. If someone is this close, arm's length, and they just come out with a knife, bang, and they're stabbing towards you, to think that you're just going to shoot them is really a fallacy. You're gonna get stabbed at least once, maybe multiple times before you're even able to get your gun out. And so what I like to teach is the principle of self-preservation before weapon presentation. Okay? So make sure that, one, you're able to defend yourself long enough to get your weapon out. Okay, so that's that. So is the gun an effective tool against a knife? Absolutely. But when you talk about the reality of close quarter dynamics, having some good knowledge in how to defend yourself long enough to survive to get your gun out can be a life-saving skill.
No one walks around with sticks, so learning stick fighting or Filipino martial arts is irrelevant.
hey, no one walks around with a gi on, but learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is still a relevant thing too, right? So it's when you look at face value of sometimes training methodology, sometimes you kind of miss the point. And I think that's a big thing to understand about Filipino martial arts is the stick is really a facsimile of any weapon that you could wield with one hand. That could be, you know, a tire iron, it could be a rolled up newspaper, it could be a knife, right? The blade is part of the application of the stick. And so learning to wield a weapon is what the stick represents. So there's the face value, I call it. Yeah, you are learning to fight with a stick, and that may be what's available to you at a given time, but it could be an umbrella, it could be a walking stick, it could be anything at your disposal, because angles are angles, targets are targets, and I'm learning to effectively introduce those weapons to targets with speed, power, timing, precision. The angles are the same. What's going to differ is just the properties of that weapon. How long is it? Is it blunt trauma? Is it going to stab? Is it going to cause lacerations? And then learning understanding how to utilize that with anything that might be at your disposal.
Is there enough about stick fighting that could actually translate to empty hand, and to what degree?
Absolutely, yeah, because again, body mechanics, right? If I'm learning how to swing a stick, I'm learning how to put power from my hip, turn my body, and put motion like that, right? When I'm throwing punches, I'm doing the same essential mechanics of swinging a stick. And not only that, but I'm learning how to do angles that are unorthodox when it comes to like typical punching techniques. I'm learning the mechanics of power, but I'm also learning how to do types of strikes that are not common in you know, empty hand striking arts, such as what we call bolo punches, hitting with that hammer fist, or an open hand slapping type strike. So, or even elbows, right? It's all the mechanics are going to be the same as what I'm doing with the weapon. So, yeah, I'm learning speed, power, precision, just with different type of application. What I'm doing with my hands, I could be essentially doing with the stick or the knife.
If you had to defend yourself against someone with a knife, would you rather have your own knife or a stick or baton?
To be honest with you, because I train all of those dynamics, I'd feel confident with all of the above. The stick or the baton depends on the type of stick. You know, some sticks I would say definitely not. Another stick I would say, yeah, I'd feel very comfortable with that being the weapon of. And the reason why is because I've got just that reach advantage. A knife I'd feel very confident with, but I'm matching distance dynamics. But I understand, probably because I train, I might understand more of the principles of trapping and controlling the weapon so that I can actually get in and use my knife effectively without the risk of getting seriously injured. Weight behind it so that I can put some good kinetic energy there. I do have that reach advantage, so that will give me a lot of confidence also.
So a good knife or a good baton then?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a good knife on that one.
Really?
Yeah, because for me a good knife is actually probably is going to have some length to it, right? It's not going to be like a little 2-inch stubby knife. It's going to have a knife that gives me some reach advantage also. So I'd go with a good knife on that one.
Hold on, don't go away. First of all, thank you for sticking around. I know the Funker Tactical channel ain't what it used to be. I sort of transitioned from just being a camera guy, a content creator, and I've actually began my journey as a student, as a teacher, as an instructor. I've been traveling the world teaching defensive and counteroffensive knife work. It's been one heck of a journey. If you're interested in following along with me, you guys can check out trainwithgn.com. That's where my seminar schedule is at. But if you want to follow my path, learn from the guy that we just heard from. He's one of my mentors, Jared Wihongi, SWAT operator, Special Forces CQC Instructor. Currently, he did something really incredible at tricomtraining.com. He's taken decades of experience and knowledge and condensed it into a subscription platform where you can learn empty hand, weapons training, weapons defense, clinch, groundwork, all of it in a very comprehensive subscription platform. Check it out once again, tricomtraining.com. If you want to learn the art, I'm kind of doing both. You guys can check out bikini.university. If not, that's cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you got something from it. Hope you learned something. And once again, thank you guys for sticking around. Stay tuned, more to come. Love you guys, peace.